Our next speaker is Dr. David Cook. He's a cybersecurity expert with Edith Cowan University.
I'm the Australian representative to IFIP, which is the International Federation of Information Processors. Try saying that after a few Prosecco's. I'm your representative to the United Nations on the internet. When you get a scam these days, there are two kinds of what we call ransomware, where someone sends you an email, you click onto the email, and suddenly on your email your computer locks up, and it locks you out of your own photos, and it locks you out of access to things, or things just don't work right. Now, at the personal level, we also have ransomware, where you personally click onto something and you're locked out of something. And someone says, yeah, I know something, I've got photos on you, or I've locked you out of this, and if you want to have a look at the photos of your grandchildren, you'll never see them again, whatever the extortion is. And in the olden days, last year, in the olden days, it would be an iTunes card. That was the number one method by which they would get you. Why? Because they'd say to you, we need three $50 iTunes cards, and you'd go down to the post office, or if you were savvy, you'd go to Woolies or Coles, but you'd go to the post office and you'd buy these iTunes cards. Why? Because you just scratch the number off, and then the criminal, wherever they are, just gets the number. And they just use that number and turn it into money. It's happened over the last few years, but in the last 12 months in particular, we now have Bitcoin ATMs. Anyone seen one? If you're not sure, I thought I'd read out. The closest three to here are 124 Victoria Street in Bunbury. That's a Bitcoin ATM called CoinFlip. There's the local Bitcoin ATM at 18 Arthur Street, Bunbury. And then if you want to go 17 kilometres away from us to Dalyalup, there's a CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM there. They're the three closest ones. They're popping up. They are the number one instrument being operated in WA at the moment, the number one instrument for people who hold you to ransom to get you to pay them their money so they don't get caught. When you get to all websites, to the part where you're going to buy something online, a very clever thing happens that a webmaster knows about, and most of you don't know if you're not a webmaster. You get to what's called the payment gateway. The page subtly changes. Nothing comes up to say, you are in the payment gateway. It just ever so subtly changes, but there are a couple of things to look for. If you're on the Qantas site, the HTTP will subtly change to an HTTPS. S for security. And so you can go, oh, now it's HTTPS. Why? Because they know you're about to enter into a card number, a debit card or a credit card, and they want to make sure that they're securing that. And so that HTTPS protects you, right? And it's this dual handshake. It's a handshake between you and Qantas, and I'm using Qantas as an example, obviously, to say, we're going to look after your credit card. We're going to store it in the most secure manner, not put up on websites where people can find it and use it. Right. Now, sometimes on the same thing, further down, you see a little padlock. Anyone seen that little padlock? It should be on the exact same line as the HTTPS. If it's not on the same line, then most likely it's a fake website. SMS messages. In your phone, you trust the messages way too much. Can you remember the first ones that you got? Here's one. It said, confirmed case of novel coronavirus. Your child must continue to isolate for 14 days until the last contact. So this was one that came out in 2020 and 2021. Some of you got text messages. That's when you all started using your phone. All right, here's one from NAB Notifier. Please confirm your billing. You've probably seen ones like this. And if you click onto the HTTPS, it says it's HTTPS, but it's actually not. It's using a different form of the letter S. So it's almost impossible to know if it's a real HTTPS. But this is them sending it to you, not you putting your own HTTPS in. By the way, going back to that example I gave you of your typing in to buy a Qantas airline, what happens when you're going to a website and the HTTP and you're at the payment bit and there's no S? What do you do? What you do, get out, no, because you need that airfare. What you do is you grab your mouse, if you're at a computer, and you drag it over where it says HTTP, and you put an S in. You put HTTP and make it HTTPS, and all the web address, and then you just press enter. S, enter. And one of two things will happen. Either one, you go to the secure website of wherever you're buying something from, or you get a thing that says error 404. Anyone ever seen error 404? If you get error 404 on a payment gateway website, you are on a fake website.